Hello and welcome to the March 16th episode of Nick's News. I am your host Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're putting money into this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, usually, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and GoodGoodGood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on this Monday. Sunday was not going to work to broadcast Nick's News, so we're doing it live on Monday. Monday. And I am so thankful that you all came in and joined us for this one, so hello, everybody. News Brew. We're going to keep exploring beer from another part of the world this month. In fact, all of our March News Brews are going to come from Kyodo Shoji Coedo Brewery that is located in Kawagoe-shi, Saitama, Japan. The second of these brews is Beniaka. Beniaka is a 7% ABV Yam Ale, and it's named after Kintoki sweet potatoes from Saitama, which were used in the brewing for this beer. Across the world, breweries ply their trade, brewing beer for everyone to try. It's time to get out there and try something different. So tonight we have Beniaka. Now this is a sweet potato beer. A yam ale. It's a pumpkin beer. It's an off-season pumpkin beer. So I don't know how I'm going to react to it, but we are going to try to enjoy it tonight in my gnarly oak tulip glass. Now I haven't shown this glass off in a while. I really love the style of this tulip. And pumpkin beers and yam ales are best enjoyed in a tulip, I guess. So, it is a bottle. So we need the Battle Song bottle opener. Our best friend. Hi, Becky. Hey, Christian. Hey, Nico. All right. Let's get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. I really should play some non-copyrighted music while I do this. It's a beautiful color. Holy crap. That is not what I expected. It almost looks like a black and tan. What? It's got color shading and everything going on. Let's get every last drop out of that. Okay. It's like a beautiful orange here, and then it just darkens as it thickens out. Yeah, that is a very pretty beer. Hi, Faye. Wow. It's got a really interesting nose to it, too. I can't say I eat a lot of yams. So maybe that's what's coming through? It's very earthy, and there's a little bit of malt, like that kind of malt sweetness to it. So I guess we'll find out how it is in a moment. Because let's get into our shoutouts. Puxatawny Phil popped his head up a couple of weeks ago, and now it's snowing again. That's right, as of the recording of this episode on March 16th, it's snowing outside in the Midwest. With March's news... Luckily, Fox and Hen's Tasting Room doesn't rely on groundhogs and is open for the season. I've actually been there a couple times. You can join me on Fridays. Head on out for a glass of small batch wine or hard cider made with local fruit, served in a fun and inviting atmosphere. Fox and Hen is located between downtown Grand Haven and Allendale, Michigan, and it is a fantastic place to be, so to everybody at Fox and Hen, cheers. This is a really tasty beverage. Wow. It is not pumpkin-y at all. I could get behind this one. Another shout out to Tesla Tree Service for yet another successful rescue. Reese, a very wet orange tabby, is now warm and safe at home. To everybody at Tesla Tree Service doing amazing work, not just regarding trees, but also regarding our fur friends that get stuck in them sometimes. Cheers. Wow, that is a really good beer. Last shout out is going to be a congratulations to Miso, Happy Cat Cafe's latest success story, and a very happy baby who's found his forever home. To Miso and to the family that adopted Miso from the Happy Cat Cafe, cheers. I can't get enough of this beer. If you want to get these, I was in Illinois and went to an Asian market that was really cool. And they had these guys in the fridge section. So check it out. I would say pick a couple of these up. We're going to be showcasing 4 of them this month. We had one last week, which was really good. And now, these Coedo beers are doing really solidly with me. News quote. This is a really nice one. Celebrate the people in your life who are there because they love you for no other reason than because you are you. I listed the name twice, but that comes from, I'll have to change that in post. That comes from Mandy Hale, who is known as The Single Woman and is a popular author and blogger focused on empowerment, self-love, and finding joy in singleness. And that can sometimes get you down if you're in that situation. And maybe it doesn't, everybody's different. But sometimes when you're in that situation, that can be debilitating, and it can really mess with your head. But at the same time, it is very good to remember that you are surrounded by people that love you. They just love you in different ways. And that is no less a form of love. So again, celebrate the people in your life who are there because they love you for no other reason than because you are you. There's only one of you, and a lot of people do love you. So, to Mandy Hale for that quote, and to all of you out there, cheers. Love you all. Bug update. It's been pretty quiet in this room, which is absolutely fine by me. Ripley's come out and has been scuttling around looking for a snack. She's creepy as ever. Little John's been pretty active once the lights go out. The Cuddle Puddle is doing great. Black Tom is battling the newly molted male Tony the Tiger. And if you want to see what Tony the Tiger looks like, check out our Tuesday Instagram post. I got some really cool pictures of Tony on my hand. So he's got this orange and black striped body, and he's pretty neat to look at. So check out Tony the Tiger. Sue has been watching from his cave, probably thinking he's going to eat the loser of those battles. But no, I'm not going to feed one of those Madagascar hissers to him. All in all, pretty happy with the bug room. Okay. With that, let's get into our broadcast, which is broken up into 4 major categories. And those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice touchy-feely articles, that we like to end on. So we are going to start off in category 1, science and technology. We've got 2, The beer, it's getting to me. We've got 2 articles in Science and Technology. We called the first one, Making a Disaster Movie Trailer in Real Life. I will copy and paste this article into the chat if you all want to check it out. Otherwise, all of the articles that we feature on our episodes are down in the description of this video if you want to check them out at your leisure. NASA's DART mission changed the orbit of an asteroid, Didymus, around the Sun. This was published to Jet Propulsion Laboratory on March 6, 2026 by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and their Asteroids and Comets section. New research reveals that when NASA's DART, the Double Asteroid Redirection Test spacecraft, intentionally impacted the asteroid moonlet Dimorphos in September of 2022, it didn't just change the motion of Dimorphos and its larger around its larger companion Didymus. The motion of the crash also shifted the orbit of both asteroids around the Sun. So you've got Dimorphos, which is little, and you've got Didymus, which is its bigger companion, and we went and whacked Dimorphos with a satellite. And it took this asteroid pair, and it sent them both on a different trajectory. Linked together by gravity, Didymus and Dimorphos orbit each other around a shared center of mass in a configuration that's known as a binary system. So changes to one asteroid affects the other. As detailed in a study that was published on Friday of that week in the journal Science Advances, observations of the pair's motion revealed that the 770-day orbital period around the Sun changed by a fraction of a second after the DART spacecraft's impact on Dimorphos. That change marks the first time a human-made object has measurably altered the path of a celestial body around the Sun. Producer Donna said, "Pinball wizard." This is a tiny change to the orbit, but given enough time, even a tiny change can grow to a significant deflection, said Thomas Statler, lead scientist for Solar System Small Bodies at NASA headquarters in Washington. The team's amazingly precise measurement again validates kinetic impact as a technique for defending Earth against asteroid hazards and shows how a binary asteroid might be deflected by impacting just one member of the pair. When DART struck Dimorphos, the impact blasted a huge cloud of rocky debris into space, altering the shape of the asteroid, which measures 560 feet, or 170 meters for folks that work in heathen units, wide. Because the debris carried its own momentum away from the asteroid, it gave Dimorphos an explosive thrust, what scientists call the momentum enhancement factor. More debris being kicked out means more oomph. According to the new research, the momentum enhancement factor for DART's impact was about 2, meaning that the debris loss doubled the punch created by the spacecraft alone. It is a 1-2 punch. Earlier research showed that the smaller asteroid's 12-hour orbital period around the nearly half-mile wide Didymus. So yeah, you've got, and again this is in heathen units, you've got Dimorphos at 170 meters, and you've got Didymus at 805 meters. It shortened the period of Dimorphos around Didymus by 33 minutes. The new study shows the impact ejected so much material from the binary system that it also changed the binary's orbital period around the Sun by 0.15 seconds. The change in the binary system's orbital speed was about 11.7 microns per second, or 1.7 inches per hour, said Rahil Makadia, the study's lead author at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Over time, such a small change in an asteroid's motion can make the difference between a hazardous object hitting or missing our planet. Although Didymus was not on an impact trajectory with Earth, and it was impossible for the DART mission to put it on one, I was really just thinking in the back of my head, what if the horror story of this is we actually did put Didymus and Dimorphos on an impact trajectory with our planet? Luckily, they're saying that's not possible, so... Since it wasn't possible to put it on one, that change in orbital speed underscored the role of the spacecraft, aka the kinetic impactors in this context, that could play if a potentially hazardous asteroid is found to be on a collision course in the future. The key is detecting near-Earth objects far enough in advance to send a kinetic impactor. Faye goes, oops, if we were to have sent these two on a path towards Earth. To that end, NASA is building the Near-Earth Object, or the NEO Surveyor, mission. Managed by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California, this next-generation space survey telescope is the first to be built for planetary defense. The mission will seek out some of the hardest to find near-Earth objects, such as dark asteroids and comets that don't deflect much visible light, or reflect much visible light. That's how we spot these things, is we see light glinting off of them, and once that's the case, we can measure their distance and their speed, and we can figure out, through very complex mathematics, their trajectories through our solar system and around us. So, being able to finally keep an eye out for these things is going to be pretty crazy. To prove DART had a detectable influence on both asteroids, not just on the smaller Didymus or Dimorphos, the researchers needed to measure Didymus's orbit around the Sun to exquisite precision. So in addition to making radar and other ground-based observations of the asteroid, they tracked stellar occultations, which occur when the asteroid passes exactly in front of a star, causing the pinpoint of light to blink out for a fraction of a second. This technique provides extremely precise measurements of the asteroid's speed, shape, and position. Measuring stellar occultations is challenging. Astronomers have to be in the right place at the right time with several observing stations, sometimes miles apart, to track the predicted path of the asteroid in front of a specific star. The team relied on volunteer astronomers around the globe who recorded 22 stellar occultations between October 2022 and March of 2025. When combined with years of existing ground-based observations, these stellar occultation observations became key in helping us calculate how DART has changed Didymus's orbit, said study co-lead Steve Chelsea, a senior research scientist at JPL. This work is highly weather-dependent and often requires travel to remote regions with no guarantees of success. This result would not have been possible without the dedication of dozens of volunteer occultation observers around the world. Studying changes in Didymus's motion also helped the researchers calculate the densities of both asteroids. Dimorphos is slightly less dense than previously thought, supporting the theory that it formed from rocky debris shed by a rapidly spinning Didymus. This loose material eventually clumped together to form Dimorphos, a rubble pile asteroid. You can check out more about DART, the DART spacecraft that was designed, built, and operated by the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland, for NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, which oversees the agency's ongoing efforts in planetary defense. It was humanity's first mission to intentionally move a celestial object, and there is a link in the article if you want to look up more about DART. To everybody involved with the DART project, moving an asteroid out in space. Cheers. Just proving that technology works is insane. Faye goes, we're all just crows being attracted to shiny things. Accurate. Very accurate. This next one we called Disaster Movie Trailer 2, En Fuego Boogaloo. Hi, Cassidy. I will copy and paste this one into the chat if y'all want to check it out. If you thought the last one was wild, get ready for this one. Scientists create giant fire tornadoes that could save our oceans. What? This was published to SciTech Daily on February 28th of 2026 by Zaid Elian and Texas A&M University. In the critical hours of an offshore oil spill, response teams must make a difficult choice. Allow the slick to spread, or set it on fire. When responders ignite the oil, they create what is known as an in situ fire pool. This method can prevent oil from drifting and contaminating fragile marine ecosystems, but it comes at a heavy cost. Thick smoke rises into the air, soot and other pollutants spread across the atmosphere, and a layer of partially burned residue remains on the ocean surface. In a first-of-its-kind, large-scale experiment, scientists tested a different strategy. Enormous fire whirls, spinning columns of flame that rise vertically like a tornado instead of spreading across the water. This rotating column acts like a powerful engine. As it spins, it pulls in extra oxygen, which allows the flame to burn hotter and more efficiently than a traditional fire pool. The improvement was dramatic. The fact that the word "was" is there means they did this. This is insane. Compared with standard in situ fires, the fire world generated 40% less soot and burned up to 95% of the oil, leaving behind far fewer hazardous particles and toxic remnants. The research funded by the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, or the BSEE, is led by Dr. Elaine Oren and Dr. Qinxing Wang of Texas A&M University, along with Dr. Michael Gollner of the University of California, Berkeley. This is the first time anyone has conceived using fire whirls for oil spill remediation, and it's really just the beginning, said Oren, professor of aerospace engineering in the College of Engineering. Our goal is to harness the chaotic nature of fire whirls as a powerful, precise restoration tool to protect coastlines, marine ecosystems, and the environment as a whole. By learning how to generate and control large fire whirls, the team is advancing an unconventional yet potentially transformative tool for tackling oil spill disasters. The 2010 Deepwater Horizon disaster, the largest offshore oil spill in U.S. history that claimed the lives of 11 workers, killed thousands of marine animals, and devastated oceanic habitats, illustrates how quickly such events can escalate into environmental crises. We are looking at environmental disasters like oil spills and identifying ways to remediate them in faster, greener, and more sustainable ways, Oren said. Apparently that means making a fire tornado. One of the clearest advantages of fire whirls is speed. Because they burn crude oil nearly twice as fast as in situ fire pools, they could give emergency crews a crucial time advantage, helping them eliminate slicks before they drift into protected or sensitive coastal areas. Fire whirls burn through crude oil spills nearly twice as fast as in situ fire pools, potentially giving cleanup crews faster operational and response times to eliminating the oils from spreading, Oren said. The findings also suggest meaningful improvements in air quality during spill response operations. One of the biggest challenges of burning oil spills is the sheer volume of smoke emitted, Oren said. Our results show that fire whirls, compared to in situ fires, dramatically reduce overall emissions. Yes, because it's a fire whirl, it's containing it. Functioning much like an industrial incinerator, the spinning flame breaks down the particles that normally create dense smoke clouds. This reduces the environmental trade-off of emergency burning, while vaporizing almost all the oil before it can harden into a sticky tar layer on the water. The insights gained from studying fire whirls may extend well beyond marine spills. A more in-depth understanding of their physics could influence the design of high-efficiency combustion systems and improve strategies for anticipating and managing wildfires on land. Our study has universal applications, Oren said. By understanding the physical laws that govern fire whirls, we can harness their power beyond oil spill remediation. Becky says, better than Sharknado. Can't argue with that, Becky. Much of the existing knowledge about fire whirls, including the spinning columns seen in wildfires, that's right, these things are naturally generated during wildfires. Look up videos of fire whirls and fire tornadoes. It's wild. They come from small laboratory experiments. To realistically model conditions similar to those of a large ocean spill, the researchers built a much larger experimental setup. The scale of our experiment is one of the reasons why our investigation is so unique, and what sets it apart as a first of its kind, Oren said. The team constructed a 16-foot tall triangular structure with 3 walls to carefully direct airflow. At its center, they placed a 1.5 meter wide pool of crude oil floating on water. When the oil was ignited at the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service, yes, the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service, or the TEEX, Brayton Fire Training Field, the setup produced a roaring fire whirl that reached nearly 17 feet in height. Results published in Fuel showed clear gains in performance, including stronger combustion, cleaner exhaust, and near-complete fuel consumption. The fire whirl burned the oil about 40% faster, cut soot emissions by 40%, and achieved up to 95% fuel consumption efficiency compared to in situ fire tests, Oren said. Despite their potential, the researchers caution that fire whirls are highly sensitive to their surroundings. Fire whirls are incredibly powerful and can be incredibly beneficial, Oren said, but they're also sensitive and only reach high efficiency when the conditions are just right. If winds are too strong, the spinning column can break apart. If airflow is not carefully managed, the flame reverts to a standard fire pool. The thickness of the oil layer also plays a role. When the slick becomes too deep, the fire whirl went out earlier than expected. This delicate balance, the Goldilocks zone, underscores both the opportunity and the engineering challenges involved in applying the technology outside controlled experiments. With additional research and further technological advances, the scientists envision portable systems that could be positioned over burning oil slicks, converting ordinary flames into efficient fire whirls. Can you imagine if you just helicopter in like a box and you drop it on top of an ocean oil fire and it spins up a fire whirl and just lets that sucker rip like a Beyblade? That would be awesome. This study is more than just an experiment. It's a glimpse into a future where fire isn't a force of destruction, but a tool to protect our oceans and planet, Oren said. For now, the successfully generated and controlled fire whirl is a standard as a significant stands as a significant scientific milestone. The work shows that unconventional ideas can lead to major breakthroughs, and that even intense destructive forces can be redirected to address urgent environmental challenges. Christian says, so are we saying that captive-raised fire tornadoes are ethical? Free roam versus captive-raised fire tornado ethics debate. Go. That is really cool. To this entire team for looking into using fire whirls to clean up ocean oil spills, because that is something else. Cheers. All right. That's going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. We got one article in this, and we called it, let me make sure I've got this right. Yep. Dropping Dravit like a bad habit. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. Groundbreaking new drug shows promise for treating children with a devastating form of epilepsy. This was published to Live Science on March 5th of 2026 by Ava Amson. A new drug appeared to slash seizures up to 90% in children with a rare and devastating form of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome, by tackling the underlying genetic mutation that causes the condition. The findings are in an early stage trial, not designed to show efficacy, so it's not yet clear whether the results will hold up in a larger trial. But if they do, it would be the first drug with the potential to alter the trajectory of a disease, which comes with neurodevelopmental delays and a high risk of sudden death. It's one of the first disease-modifying trials for early-onset complex epilepsy, such as Dravet syndrome, said study leader Dr. Helen Cross, a professor of childhood epilepsy at the Institute of Child Health at University College London, and a pediatric neurologist at Great Ormond Street Hospital. The results of the clinical trial published on March 4th in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that the drug, called zorvunersen, can safely be given to children with Dravet syndrome, and that it reduces the number of seizures and improves their overall quality of life. The main purpose of this study was to test the drug's safety and find an optimal dose, but Cross's team also investigated whether the treatment led to seizure reduction, neurodevelopmental improvements, and quality of life. We saw improvements in all those domains, particularly at the higher doses, they told Live Science. Besides frequent seizures, people with Dravet syndrome also have developmental delays, coordination problems, behavioral issues, and other symptoms. And around half of these people who have Dravets will die suddenly and prematurely due to the disease. The symptoms are all caused by a problem with interneurons, a type of cell that relays messages in the central nervous system. Anti-epileptic drugs and implants can reduce the number of seizures somewhat, but do not improve developmental delays. A gene called SCN1A controls the formation of sodium channels that are required for interneuron signaling. Most people have 2 copies of this gene, but in many people with Dravet syndrome, a genetic change stops one of these copies from working properly. Zorvunersen fixes this problem by increasing the amount of protein that the other working copy of the SCN1A gene produces. The drug is a type of molecule called an antisense oligonucleotide, and it works by increasing messenger RNA that gives instructions for the working versions of the SCN1A protein. To ensure that zorvunersen reaches the brain, it was given as a lumbar puncture, an injection in the spine that puts the drug into the cerebrospinal fluid, which bathes the brain. Although treatment required a visit to the clinic for every dose, the study showed that the effects lasted a few months. A total of 81 children ages 2 to 18 took part in this early stage study at hospitals in the UK and the US. Cross and her colleagues were particularly interested in finding out what dose of zorvunersen would have the best results, so they tried a few different doses. Some got a single treatment, while others received a series of lumbar punctures a few months apart. After this, 75 of the study participants continued to receive zorvunersen treatment every 4 months. Their participants were followed for a total of 3 years. After 20 months of treatment, children who received the highest dose at the start of the trial had between 59% and 91% fewer seizures. Several children in this study had mild side effects such as a headache or vomiting from the lumbar puncture procedure, or increased levels of protein in the cerebral spinal fluid. But overall, the trial showed that the drug was safe for children. The study does have some limitations. It only studied a small group of children, and there was no placebo group. In a larger trial that is already underway, researchers are studying an additional 170 children to find out if those who receive the treatment indeed show more improvement than a control group. We're targeting the actual underlying cause of the problem, Cross said, and therefore not only reducing seizures, but improving other aspects of the disease. The trial is expected to be completed in October of 2028, so even if the results are positive, it will be a few years until this treatment is available to all children with Dravet syndrome. Still, to everybody involved studying Dravet syndrome and trying to find a solution to reduce or eliminate the number of seizures as well as help the quality of life of these children. Cheers. That's going to get us out of Category 2, Health and Medicine. We are going to move on to Category 3, Flora and Fauna, aka Plants and Animals. And we've got one article in here tonight, and we called it, If You Grow It, They Will Come. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. Now, it is no secret that I reside in West Michigan, and there's something I absolutely love every year in West Michigan, and that is seeing monarch butterflies. I think they're spectacular. I think that their caterpillars look gorgeous, and their adult forms just as much. They really are something else to see. But they're very specific species. They're very specific to what they eat and where they lay their eggs. So any good news about monarch butterflies is good news to me. Planting 15 million milkweed to reverse the western monarch decline. This is published to riverpartners.org on February 25th of 2026 by Lily Rothrock. Oh, Norse Raven says hello. For some reason, YouTube is not showing them chat, so they are lurking. Hello, Norse Raven. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. This past November, volunteers counted fewer than 13,000 western monarch butterflies overwintering along the California coast, the third lowest tally in nearly 3 decades of monitoring. The 3 lowest counts on record have all come in the last 6 years. Sorry, my nose was itchy. Western monarchs are in serious trouble. The migration is collapsing, said Emma Pelton, a senior conservation biologist with the Xerxes Society, which leads the annual Western Monarch Count and is a longtime partner of River Partners. Longtime partner of River Partners. Our window for action is narrowing, and our conservation efforts must accelerate. River Partners has responded with the largest coordinated monarch recovery effort in the West. 15 million milkweed plants by 2030. The milkweed, the only source of food for monarch caterpillars and nursery for their eggs, will be planted in a primary monarch migration corridor from Redding in Northern California to the Imperial Valley near the Arizona and Mexico border. It's an ambitious target, set against a grim backdrop. In the 1980s, Western monarchs numbered around 4.5 million. Today, the population has declined by more than 99%, driven by habitat loss, pesticide use, and climate change. Our window to reverse the trend is narrowing fast. The key to understanding the best opportunities we have to save monarchs is the same reason they are so remarkable. They don't stop for long in one place, and they travel vast distances. Each spring, monarchs leave their overwintering groves from Mendocino to Baja California, and they push inland. The first place they breed is California's Central Valley, which makes it priority 1 in monarch conservation plans. Multiple generations are born as the population fans out east toward the Rocky Mountains. Then, a final super generation emerges in late summer. Butterflies built to live up to 9 months instead of the usual 4 to 6 weeks. Those butterflies make the long push back to the coast. Eastern monarchs echo the same journey on the other side of the Rockies, moving from Mexico to as far north as Canada before turning around to overwinter down south again. No single butterfly completes the full round trip. Monarch migration is a relay race passed across generations. This is exactly why the Central Valley and other priority breeding areas are so critical for Western monarchs. They even use rivers as migration pathways, where they can find a steady supply of water, habitat, food, and shelter needed to make the full migration. If monarchs lose their ability to breed in the Central Valley, we lose the entire population, says River Partners Director of Science Michael Rogner. There will be no further generations to continue the migration. Milkweed is foundational habitat for monarchs. Monarch caterpillars feed exclusively on its leaves, and females lay eggs nowhere else. The plant has disappeared from much of the West due to development and herbicide use. Without enough milkweed, the relay race of migration breaks down. We know monarchs can travel from wherever they are with an egg and die before they ever find any milkweed, Rogner said. We need more milkweed out on the landscape, so that doesn't happen. River Partners began scaling up its monarch work in 2020, partnering with the Xerces Society, the California of Fish and Wildlife, Washington State University, and other organizations to plant more than 30,000 milkweed plants across 600 acres of priority habitat throughout the Central Valley. When the milkweed went in, the monarchs found it immediately, so River Partners decided to keep going. The new goal is exponentially larger, reaching 15 million milkweed plants by 2030, means solving a seed problem that most people don't think about. You can't harvest that much milkweed seed from wild populations without damaging them. Heritage Growers, River Partners' 200-acre native seed farm near the town of Colusa in Northern California, is cultivating milkweed specifically for restoration, amplifying what the wild can't provide on its own. Heritage Growers wildland seed collector Haley Holgate spends much of her time scouting for wild seed up and down California, tracking harvest windows that close fast. Sometimes you have just a couple of days where the window to harvest seed is right, she says, and you can't miss it. Becky says, I need to order some milkweed seeds. I want some monarchs to come to my yard. I think that's a fantastic idea. Heritage Growers cultivate 3 main milkweed species for restoration. Narrow-leaf milkweed, or Asclepias fascicularis, which is the most abundant across the valley and has a remarkably long window for both bloom and seed collection, which Holgate noted with relief. The showy milkweed, which is Asclepias speciosa, which grows in smaller scattered stands, and the desert milkweed, Asclepias erosa, critical for monarchs in the southern part of the state. I didn't know there was so much milkweed. The scale of River Partners restoration is important here too. Researchers have found systemic insecticide residue in milkweed tissue far from the nearest farm, meaning plants that were never directly sprayed may still be toxic to butterflies. That was shocking to see, says River Partners senior restoration ecologist Corey Shake. The use of systemic pesticides that make their way into plant tissues corresponds with the decline of butterfly species in California. The only real protection in the Central Valley is distance. Sites large enough to offer refuge. When River Partners purchases conventionally farmed land and restores it to native habitat, that ground isn't just gaining milkweed, it's losing pesticides and other chemical inputs. Permanently. River Partners has a unique opportunity to provide stopover habitat where monarchs can stay and linger and not get exposed to insecticides, says Shake. No one else can quite pull that off at the scale that we do. River Partners is also deploying wildlife tracking stations through the Modus Wildlife Tracking Network at Dos Rios State Park near Modesto and Panorama Vista Preserve near Bakersfield. The towers are equipped with special receivers to detect butterflies fitted with Bluetooth tags powered by tiny solar panels. Everything about that sentence was awesome. It detects special receivers on butterflies that are fitted with Bluetooth tags powered by tiny solar panels. Traditional battery-powered trackers would be too heavy for the tiny bodies. 40 additional wildlife sensors spread across restored areas will help triangulate movement at fine resolution. Being able to track their movements very specifically around different patches of milkweed will really help answer questions about what it is monarchs are keying in on, says Rogner. If we can detect a pattern in these movements, we can design our restoration projects to create more of that. Powered by seed, scale, and knowledge, River Partners is equipped to not just plant some milkweed, but build the foundation they've established with partners for the largest monarch habitat recovery effort in the West. At the end of the day, though, success isn't theirs to declare. It's for the monarchs to determine. This year's there's still more. I thought that was it. There's still more. This year's third lowest western monarch count on record is sending a message. The chain of habitat monarchs have depended on for millennia has frayed, but there's reason to hold on to hope. Monarch populations are naturally variable. They can swing dramatically from year to year, the way acorns have mast years and wildflowers don't super bloom every spring. After hitting an all-time low of fewer than 2,000 butterflies back in 2022, the western population rebounded to more than 200,000 in 2021, without any significant change in habitat. What changed the most was the weather. This means monarch populations can rebound quickly when conditions align. But when the baseline is already low, natural variability of a drought or poorly timed storm becomes less of a bouncy house and more of a cliff edge for the population. A few bad seasons stacked on top of decades of loss are devastating. If you think of habitat as the foundation, that's the thing you have to keep and create more of, says Shake. You might have the foundation, but you can't build the house if other pressures are too strong. But you have to have the foundation if there's hope for recovery. That's both the hopeful and the sobering part. The capacity for monarchs to make an astounding recovery is still there, despite the near collapse of the population. Monarchs have become an ambassador species for something larger than themselves. When River Partners restores habitat for monarchs, they plant an array of nectar-producing species that support all pollinators, with planting pallets carefully planned to provide food across the entire monarch migration window. The benefits ripple outward in ways that are hard to fully measure. Monarchs are an indicator of the overall health of native pollinators, says Rogner. If we're helping to recover monarchs, we're helping to recover the native biodiversity that provides the food on this planet. That's why monarch recovery can't wait, and it's going to take all hands on deck. We're doing everything as quickly as we can, they say. There's no question. We can't do this without private and public support right now. For now, monarchs are still finding ways to complete the relay race of migration despite huge chunks of habitat breaking the chain. They need all of us to fill in as much of that foundation we mentioned as possible. with milkweed, abundant nectar, and safe refuge, in order to support their migration from collapsing. That's what River Partners is racing to build. To everybody at River Partners looking to restore the Monarch Raceway effectively by planting 15 million milkweed plants by 2030. Cheers. I hear some bug moving around, but I'm not sure which one. Because I don't immediately see them. All right. That is going to take us out of flora and fauna. We're going to move on to category 4, the wholesome notes. We've got 3 articles in wholesome notes tonight for you, and we called this first one Hell of a Wait for Free Food. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. And again, all of our articles are in all of the links to our articles are in the description of the video, so you can check them out whenever. Hey, Charlie. Oh, 4 articles in wholesome notes. Oh gosh, there are. It's 4 for 4. Category 4 with 4 wholesome notes. Thank you, producer Donna. Alabama father, 99, and son, 80, become first ever pair to redeem decades-old promise of free oysters at local oyster house. This was published to People on March 10th of 2026 by Desiree Anello. Jimmy Rush and his 99-year-old father, Jim, finally achieved one of their lifelong goals. For over 50 years, Jimmy, who's 80, would visit Winsel's Oyster House in downtown Mobile, Alabama, alongside his dad and his younger brother Carl, a tradition that continued even after he moved to Florida. My dad and I started riding in a parade at Mardi Gras on Friday nights, Jimmy told Fox 10 TV. So we would come down here on Friday afternoon and eat oysters, and that started in 1972. Every time the Rush men would visit the oyster house, they would see one sign among the dozens that hung on the walls that promised free oysters to any customer who turns 80 and walks in with their father. Since no one had claimed the reward in the past, Jimmy knew he was about to make history as he approached the milestone birthday. I can quote by heart, "Free oysters to any man 80 years old accompanied by his father," Carl, the younger son, said. So in seeing that sign, we felt like our dad was going to make it to 100 because he's in great health. We've been talking about it as a family for 25, 30 years. As soon as Jimmy turned 80, the trio marched down to Winsel's Oyster House to be the first to redeem the offer, and the local restaurant followed through with its promise. We'd asked the bartender if anyone else did it. No one had. So we said, "We'll be the first," Jimmy said, to which his dad added, "We're the number ones." After the Rush family made history at the Winsel's Oyster House, the restaurant commemorated the moment on social media while wishing Jimmy a happy birthday. Most people read that sign behind the bar and laugh, read a February 23rd Facebook post. But tonight, Jimmy Rush walked in on his 80th birthday with his father, James Rush, who's 99, right beside him, and turned one of Winsel's rarest traditions into a real-life milestone. The Rush family has been part of this place for years, and they didn't come alone, the post continued. A full room of friends, shared memories, and yes, oysters on the house, true to our founder's promise. After inviting around 60 of their closest friends and family members to celebrate the family milestone, Jimmy deemed his 80th birthday the best one yet. "Never thought about any birthdays except my 80th, he told Fox 10 TV. "That's the one I was looking forward to, because of the sign." Carl added, We'll be back to do this all over again October 2028 when I turn 80. My dad says he's going to make it, so that's good enough for me. As for Jim's secret to staying healthy at 99 years old, while he admitted that he's losing some of his vision, the World War II and Korean War veteran said that he takes no medication and has been very lucky and very well taken care of through my God. Through tears, he added, "It worked out." To the Rush family. Jimmy, his father, Carl, let me get their names right. Jimmy, his father Jim, and his younger brother Carl, who went and made history at a restaurant by making the restaurant make good on a promise that their founder made. Happy birthday, and cheers. Charlie says, "It's them oysters." We call this next article, "This is what you call a can-do attitude." I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. I love what I do. 13-year-old has recycled 1.5 million drink cans to help people and the planet. This was published to Nice News on March 10th, 2026 by SWNS. Talk about a can-do attitude. A 13-year-old boy has raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity by recycling more than 1.5 million drink cans over the past 3 years. Ryan Hulance, founder of the We Can initiative, launched his passion project as a way to make money for food banks, while also caring for the environment. The eco-conscious teen was just 10 when he began contacting businesses near where he lives in Solihull, a town in England's West Midlands region, asking if they could spare any cans that he could sell to be recycled. Scrap metal firms pay between about 27 cents and $1.20 per 2.2 pounds of aluminum, the equivalent of around 65 cans. I came up with the idea because I wanted to help people and the environment at the same time, he told SWNS. I came up with recycling cans, and it just took off from there. In the early days, Ryan was collecting a few hundred cans per week and storing his bounty at home. To save space, he would crush the cans by driving over them in their car before Ryan bagged them up. He now collects 20,000 cans a week, and his family, who run a garage, were given an industrial crushing machine that bundles the cans into large metal bales. To date, Ryan has earned around $24,000, all of which he has donated to charity. He has his sights set even higher, though. His new goal is to regularly recycle more than a ton of cans per month from his 200 regular suppliers. The family hope their idea will also help the nearby city of Birmingham with its recycling crisis due to a garbage collectors strike that's been ongoing since January of 2025. We are very proud of Ryan and really want to help him expand, said Mom Karima. For the last 3 months, we have recycled over 1 ton per month, but we are capable of much, much more. The enterprise takes a lot of time, of course. Ryan spends around 20 hours a week collecting and recycling cans after school and on the weekends. Sometimes I think I'd rather be playing video games with my friends because I'm 13 years old, Ryan admitted. But actually, when I think about it more deeply, I really love what I do because I get to help people and families who are in need. To Ryan Hulance and his family, for enacting an insane amount of recycling to to raise money for food pantries and other charities, and to date has raised $24,000 on just can collection alone, and given it all to charity. Cheers. That's a can-do attitude. This next one we called Pints and Ponytails. And I'll copy and paste this to the chat if y'all want to check it out. Pints and Ponytails teaches dads how to braid their daughter's hair over beers at the pub. This was published to goodgoodgood.co on March 9th of 2026 by Megan Cook. A new video is taking the internet by storm. On March 8th, the TikTok account Secret Life of Dads posted a video captioned, 35 dads in a pub learning to braid their daughter's hair. In the video, roughly 36 fathers sit around a long table at the Lucky Saints pub in London, England, for a Pints and Ponytails event. With beers in hand and a mannequin head in front of them, a hairstylist from Braid Maidens leads them all in a hair braiding tutorial for their daughters. Less than 3 weeks ago, we sat in this very space at the Lucky Saint beer pub with 10 other dads, and last night, 35 dads walked through the door. The Secret Life of Dads posted on Instagram. Most of them came alone, but were all there for the same reason: to learn how to do their daughter's hair. What followed was one of the most special evenings we've ever been part of. In less than 24 hours, the video went viral on Instagram Reels and TikTok, accruing over 15 million views between the two platforms. Crying because I just saw this TikTok, a user posted on Threads. Love this, a TikTok user said. This needs to be nationwide. This is what generational healing looks like, a person commented on Instagram. Another user called it a room full of green flags. The event was hosted by Secret Life of Dads podcasters Matthew Lewis Carter and Lawrence Price. This is only the second time that we've hosted this event, and a lot of you doing it alone as well. Not knowing who you'd be meeting, it takes a lot of guts and courage, Price said to the group of dads. So it's a testament to you as dads for wanting to be here to learn a new skill, to create a deeper connection with your daughter, Lewis Carter added. To everybody involved, from the Secret Life of Dads to the 35 dads that showed up to share beers and figure out how to braid hair so they could be able to do that for their daughters. Cheers. Charlie said, "Oh, this is making my heart so happy." Or this makes my heart so happy. It makes mine happy, too, that these exist. That was definitely something that has crossed my mind. I am not a father at this time, at the time of recording this. But definitely, if the case was going to be that my child wanted their hair done a certain way, I would be figuring out how to do it for sure. Even if my significant other can, I would still be trying to figure out how to do it, because that just seems like a really cool thing to figure out. And to be able to build that connection, that's really neat. Okay. Our last article of the night we called Imagination Makes for the Best Rocket Fuel. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. Indianapolis engineer launches free rocket boot camp for kids. Is the sky really the limit? For one Indianapolis engineer, that question is fueling the imagination of young minds one rocket at a time. When night falls over downtown Indianapolis and thunder rolls across the skyline, Tanaka Chaniera is at work inside his apartment. There's barely room to walk inside his home. Rocket parts, boxes, and materials fill nearly every corner. Furniture was once part of the plan. My initial intent for this space was to actually have furniture, Chaniera said. Instead, it became mission control. Chaniera's love for rocketry didn't begin in Indiana. It started in high school in Botswana, where he proposed building a rocket for a STEM competition. Some people laughed at me because they thought it was like a ridiculous, outlandish idea, Chaniera said. The infrastructure for it wasn't really there. But Chaniera pushed forward. Chaniera went on to win an essay competition about satellites, beating competitors from across the African continent. That victory took him to French Guiana, where he watched an Ariane 5 rocket launch, a moment he said cemented his passion for space. Now in Indianapolis, Chaniera is paving the way for the next generation. Chaniera launched a free rocket boot camp for kids in Marion County through the Minority Engineering Program of Indianapolis. After pitching his idea to the nonprofit's board, the program backed it with grant funding, allowing students to participate at no cost. This brings them closer to that dream if they've had it as a kid. Like I had it as a kid, Chaniera said. When they go through this, it makes it real. Students build and launch their own rockets, learning hands-on engineering skills along the way. Chaniera emphasizes safety, teamwork, and creativity, even encouraging unique paint designs that reflect each child's personality. Chaniera's grand mission is ambitious. He wants to see 1,000 rockets launched from Indianapolis by the end of the year. To make Indy have the most rockets per capita in the world, Chaniera said, I am at around 80 right now, so that's 80 individual people, each with their own rocket. The boot camp, Chaniera said, gives kids a chance to gain hands-on experience in the STEM field. Space is the limit, really, Chaniera said.
And now to a story about
Oh.
a big budget concern.
What the?
From Indianapolis Public Schools. Warning if it...
Usually I have everything muted. I don't know why that started talking. Bad article. Bad. Space is the limit, really, Chaniera said. And there is no limit in space. It just keeps going. If families are interested in getting involved, they can contact the Minority Engineering Program of Indianapolis, through its website or social media pages by contacting Chaniera through his social media. The program is completely free. There are just so many engineerings throughout this entire night. But seriously, to Tanaka Chaniera and to all of the students that have participated in his program, launching rockets and proving that the sky is not the limit. Cheers. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. 8 amazing articles, finishing it off with 4 wholesome notes. Real ones that go straight to the heart. Really great stuff. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. We're live usually every Sunday, and our next episode should be on March 22nd of 2026, and that episode will be our first Chat and Chill episode of 2026. So what's it going to be? We're not going to have any articles. We're just going to chat. We're just going to chill, drink beer, snap and say engineer. And we're just going to have fun. So let's kick back and go back to how Nick's News started way back in 2016. We encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can message us or post suggestions for news brews, shoutouts, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes of our program. If you send in a bunch of articles, please try to spread them out across their 4 major categories, which again are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice ones we like to end on. Like a family making good on a sign in an oyster bar, or trying to launch 1,000 rockets out of Indianapolis with kids. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description of the video. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on all of our content across all our platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, so that we can get good news and joy out into the algorithm. Please know SEO improvement and advertisements, we're not interested. We have been growing thanks to all of you. I really can never thank you all enough for helping. It really is something else. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night. And I will play us out.